we are going to talk about positive shin angle and how this will really serve you in athletic performance and also being really functional in your movements. So positive shin angle, what is that? This position of your shin in this forward or positive angle is what I'm referring to. So if you don't have this positive shin angle in a whole bunch of your movements like squats, lunges, and lateral speed, then you won't be getting the most from those movements. So for example, let's look at the squat first. If, like you may have been told, to squat, if you've been trying to squat with your knees staying over your ankles or your knees staying very close to your ankles, it is quite literally impossible to hold that position of a 90-degree angle. To have a functional, explosive, or key squat movement, your knee is going to be closer to your toe than it is to your ankle. And that is how you're going to get that movement, which will serve your squats, it'll serve your explosive jumps, it'll serve anything coming from a squat position. But you will need to have that positive shin angle. Now when I'm talking about a positive shin angle, I don't want the knees to be in here. The knees have to be aligned with your hips and your ankles. So they're going to be holding this tracking or this line, but still with that push forward as the hips are going back. And that is going to allow for your best function and your best performance on your squats. Now let's take a look at this same concept from a lunge perspective. If you want your lunges to really work for you, not only do you want that positive shin angle, but you also want to make sure that that is aligned with the back thigh. So if you go into a lunge, we want to see that this positive shin angle is parallel to the back thigh. Too many times I see athletes going into a position of a lunge that looks something like this, and it's completely dysfunctional for lunging, running, jumping. We need to have not only this front positive shin angle, but the back thigh parallel and aligned with that, and that's going to allow you to drive forward. If you're sitting here in a position, so I can show you here, you're sitting in a position that's something like this, it's not going to be nearly as functional in terms of the drive you get from your back leg or the position driving forward in your front leg. These would be what we call energy leaks. They're just positions or losses of energy in how you move that don't serve that function or that powerful movement forward. So that would be the positive shin angle in your lunge positions. Now let's take a look at it for something that's like lateral, speed, mobility, anything from those realms. If you're doing a warm-up and you're doing a shuttle or a shuffle of some sort back and forth, many times, especially in the sport of basketball, no worries basketball players, lots of love to you, I'll see a shuffle that looks something like this. We don't want this front leg to be pulling along. We want to be pushing from the back leg. And again, we need that positive shin angle in order to push from the back leg and push from the hip. If we're leading with our toe this way and pulling, it's not going to be fast, it's not going to be explosive, and you won't be able to change direction very quickly. However, if you are pushing with a positive shin angle, pushing from your hip with your toes facing front in that aligned position, you can switch direction very quickly and you're going to have more speed and power that comes from the hip. Lastly, I'm going to show you just in terms of some speed on an over box. From this last position, oftentimes if someone's going into a speed movement or some agility like an over box step, people will stand and then get ready to go from there. Again, even in a start position, whether it's agility, whether it's about to move in a drill or do a cardiovascular drill like shuttle runs, then still, again, for speed purposes, make sure you have at least some positive shin angle. Starting an agility drill from this position, I'm going to lose tenths of a second or more by standing here and then having to sink and then go over the box. Whereas if I'm in a ready position, positive shin angle, everything's engaged, then I can go over and start a lot more quickly instead of having to sink into my position and then go. So there are 3 ways that positive shin angle will really serve your athletic performance, your overall function, and just being able to have the results that you want. Now, if you don't have the range of motion through your ankle or your foot or your hips or your knees, then that would be the place to start if you find it really difficult to get those positions.